Out of the tent and on to the midway for a musical salute celebrating Miss Jenny Lynn. Come follow the band, wherever it's at. The thought is a beat, touch it out, be a heart full like a cat. I'll clap your hand, I'll do it hard. Tell me your loss, I'll say catch your life. See the way they come down, and it's beautiful days. Watch the phone with the big face on, ain't it like we say? Give it to the weather on my arm, my heart got me crazy. Don't you stop lazy, better hurry and go, no take nobody see. Now I understand, I understand. In the beautiful place, remember all your days. See the pretty lady toss that fat on high, ain't she cute as a daisy? Watch the fellow with the big face from the bar, ain't you glad that you stayed? Hear the tuba play that old papa, oh my, ain't it driving you crazy? Don't you be so darn lazy, better hurry and join that big parade! Come follow the band, and all your feet, time to go, feel your heart go back to the dance, up like your hand, hold your hand, down in the grass, I say catch your life, there's like that sweet and ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed members.
ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Barnum. The performance will be starting shortly, and Mr. Barnum has asked me to extend a particular welcome to you this evening to the very first performance of Barnum here at the beautiful Rupert Guinness Theatre. And for those of you still arriving, our theatre staff, under the courteous direction of Mr. Pat Morris, will be delighted to show you to your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight you will see every sight, wonder, and phenomenon known and unknown to man. You'll see Joyce Heth. She's 160 years old. She's the oldest woman in the world. You'll see General Tom Thumb. He's the smallest man in the world. Jumbo, 12 feet tall at the shoulder, 6 1/2 tons in weight. Miss Jenny Lind, the Swedish Nightingale. Ah, Nightingale, the word says it all. You'll see tumblers, jugglers, clowns, aerialists, acrobats, gymnasts, bricklayers, the Bridgeport Grand Opera, and Pageant Company. But now the performance is about to start, so may I present to you the fantastic, the fabulous, the phenomenon, Phineas Taylor Barnum!
Yes! Barnum's the name, P.T. Barnum. And tonight, on this stage, you are going to see, bar none, every sight, miracle, and wonder that name stands for, including Jumbo, the largest elephant in the world, the great white whale from Labrador, General Tom Thumb, only 25 inches from toe to crown, Joyce Heth, the oldest woman in the world, and the rarest, the most beautiful bird in captivity, the Swedish Nightingale, plus a cast of hundreds, no, thousands, including marching bands, standing bands, flying bands, tumbling bands, bands of every shape, size, and description. And here they are. Oh, I know what you're thinking. You don't see any nightingales or 25-inch men or flying bands. But like I told you, Barnum's the name, and miracles are my game, and they're all up there, mark my word. Where are you going?
Home.
But I've got a point of view to expound defending the noble art of humbug.
Which I happen to be in disagreement with, as it is no more than a shoddy defense of flim-flam, so it doesn't behove me to stick around.
Respect for the speaker, madam, requires that you listen while he sets forth his convictions.
And respect for my own convictions requires me to set forth, which I am doing.
Then go. Isolated dissent can hardly deter me. One small voice can quite easily be ignored.
Good day, Mr. Barnum.
Of course, it doesn't help any if that one small voice happens to belong to his wife. Charity Barnum, I'll have a kiss before you leave.
With pleasure, Mr. Barnum. You may not make much sense, but you're beautiful.
In the far ring, ladies and gentlemen, the fight to the finish struggle of humbug versus truth, flim-flam versus fact. Mr. Phineas Taylor Barnum versus his good wife, Charity. An American pageant featuring stirring music, thrilling spectacle, hilarious clowns, and savage jungle beasts. But first, presenting Mr. Phineas Taylor Barnum himself in an opening bit of philosophic folderol.
Now, the fact is, my wife is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Give her a mess of hard facts and she's as happy as a clam. But if you serve her up a little bit of fancy, she turns up her nose like it was yesterday's fish. Now, whether you end up thinking that humbug is a blessing or a curse, you're still gonna buy it. Why? Because every 60 seconds in this world, a delightful phenomenon takes place, which absolutely guarantees it. Yes! There is a sucker born every minute. Each time that second hand sweeps to the top like dandelions, up they pop. Ears so big and eyes so wide, and though I feed 'em bona fide baloney with no truth in it, why you can bet I'll find some room to buy my corn, 'cause there's the surest shooting sucker born a minute, and I'm referring to the minute you was born. Each blessed hour brings 60 of them. Each time that wooden cuckoo shows his face, another sucker takes his place, plonks his quarter on the line to buy my brand of genuine malarkey. God bless and love him, but don't be sad or hopping mad or cause a scene, 'cause there's the surest shooting sucker born a minute, but man, you might have been the minute in between. If I allow that right here in my hand, the smallest living human man, the sight of that is surely worth a dime. If I present an educated pooch who's trained to dance the hoochie cooch, what better way to waste a bit of time? If I import at monumental cost a lady's fair whose head was lost while crossing railroad tracks to pick some zinnias, who has no ears or eyes or nose and wears pink tights instead of clothes, if that ain't worth a buck, my name ain't Phileas. Oh, you say that's hogwash, well, who cares? You buy my hogwash as long as there's a sucker born every minute. Each time that second hand sweeps to the top like dandelions, up they puff, ears so big and eyes so wide. Though my tailor's bona fide baloney, just let me spin it. There ain't no man who can resist me, wait and see. 'Cause there's a surely shooting sucker born a minute. And Frank, the biggest one, excluding none, is me. Of course, that was when our country was a pup. Today, alas, it's growing up, and we ain't got no suckers anymore. And I'll prove it to you. Now, if I was to tell you I got a real live mermaid back there, how many of you would pay, say, 25 cents to come up here and see her? Huh? One, maybe two at the most. But the rest of you, you're so well educated you don't believe in any foolishness such as a half woman and a half fish. Therefore, you're not suckers. Whew. And you're missing one hell of a lot, because there happens to be one right behind that curtain. And now, I'm damned if I'm going to show it to you. Hey, Wally, I don't think she's at yet. Ask her to put on that little blouse I got for her, because I don't want you getting all excited when you start tossing in the sardines. Sir, sit down, huh? Oh, now you're excited, huh? Just because you hear Madame Neptune has got no blouse on, it gets you up on your feet. Well, sir, it happens to be the mystic joining of earth and ocean that's the miracle, not the fact that the lazy has uncovered bosoms. Pearly pink and simply beautiful though they may be.
Here it is in Mr. Webster's dictionary, Taylor. Humbug. Something designed to deceive or mislead.
Now, that's what comes from marrying a school teacher. They go right to the books. Charity, I'm talking about rosy possibilities. The kind of humbug the Pilgrim Fathers sold themselves when they came over on the Mayflower. The dream, Charity.
Just one question, Taylor. That lady with no nose, how does she smell?
Awful. Just awful.
Mr. Webster gives this nice synonym for humbug, too. Lies. Now, don't give up, Taylor. The evening's young. You've still got some rosy possibilities.
Rosy possibilities.
In the far ring, humble beginnings, as Mr. Phineas Taylor Barnum turns old to gold. Quicker than you can say, George Washington.
I'm telling you, they came in the thousands in Philadelphia, Mr. Barnum. Now, here's all the proof you'll need. Birth certificate, bill of sale, writs, and testimony, all proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that on June 15th, Joyce Head will be 160 years old.
She'd better be, Mr. Lyman, because it's taken me every cent I have to buy this contract. But from now on, P.T. Barnum presents Joyce Head, the oldest woman in the world.
Oh, she'll make you a fortune, Mr. Barnum. Just remember, Philadelphia.
All right, Joyce, we'd better get to work if we want to eat tonight. Step right up and see her, folks. Joyce Head, the oldest woman in the world. Come on now, 10 cents sees you right at the front of the line to see Joyce Head, the oldest woman in the world. What do you think? Come on now, folks, step right up and see her. Hey, lady, 1 second. You're not as young as you used to be, and this lady will make you feel like a spring chicken.
How dare you!
You're flat, Joyce, you're flat. You're flat, Joyce. Sir, all alone with no place to go. You're flat, Joyce, you're flat. Bring it up a bit, bring it up a bit. Not you. Sit down, sir. Do you like older women? Come on, this act can't last forever. She could be gone next week. I don't understand it, Joyce. They came by the thousands in Philadelphia.
And walked by the thousand, Mr. Barnum. You've been had.
What?
Anyway, what's so special about an old lady? Now, a young lady, that's different. If you'd have had me up here 140 years ago, they would have come all right.
What did you say?
I said, what's so special about an old lady?
Yeah, but a special old lady.
Mr. Barnum, what you looking at?
I'm looking at a nurse. About 100 years ago, she's got this baby bouncing on her knee. George Washington.
But I don't know no people named Washington.
George Washington, the father of our country?
I told you I don't
Joyce!
know.
That pavement looks a mite hard to sleep on tonight, and I would say there was a fair chance of rain. Maybe even hail.
What you say that boy's name was?
George Washington.
Oh, you means little Georgie.
That's it.
Why, Mr. Barnum, I pretty near raised that boy.
That's it, Joyce. Come on, let's do it now. Step right up and see it, folks. Joyce Heck, George
When
Washington's
you see the
nurse.
The world is in.
What do you
When
think?
the way
George
it is,
Washington
they
was
what
160
it's
years of
been.
age.
When folks just care for gold, thank God I'm old. When you take a gander at the news, when you hear the language people
What do
use,
you think of that? 160
when
years
those sweet songs are sung, I don't want to be young.
Okay, Joyce, liven it up. That's
Daddy
it, Joyce. Hey, Zach,
time
why don't you do a job?
doesn't fret me, should he sky me, that don't upset me. Let him I need, come and get me, that's fine by me. Age don't worry me. When you see the way folks misbehave, when it's only good times that they crave, when kids are much too bold, thank God I'm old. When there ain't no he-man left alive, when they tell you 3 men out of 5 end up locked up or hung, I don't want to be young.
Okay, Joyce, let's dance.
But I'm 160 years old, I can't dance.
Rain, hail, maybe a blizzard.
I'll dance.
I knew you would. Down here. That's it. Back a bit now. And salad. Right, and the other leg. Right, that's it. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, come to the top of the hill and I'll give you a push. Okay, now we're going to start on the left, right? And let's go. That's it, Joyce. Now you're on your own.
Let me tell you about the day Georgie discovered America.
That was Christopher Columbus.
I attended him too.
No, you didn't. Come on, just dance. Come on, that's it. Give him a hip. That's it, Joyce. One more, come on. Come on now, Joyce, we're gonna go home.
Gonna get dressed up, had it down, call myself a hack and gonna
That's it,
town.
Joyce.
See every shady street, these feet on strolls. Then I'm gonna sit back on the shelf, have a little nip and tell myself, don't mind that circus and then my hair's got silvery hair. When I see all of my friends laid out and cold, thank God I'm old.
That's it, Joyce, come on. Get back in the truck. That's it. Away you go, Joyce. Mind yourself. 2 blocks down, boys. And give her some resuscitation. And I could do with some myself. Whew. All right. Maybe I misled him a bit. But most of those folks went home thinking that they shook the hand that held the rosy bottom of the father of our country. And that's a patriotic humbug, and there is none finer. Well, now that Joyce was a success, I started to sign up other attractions, but I needed some place to put them.
That's right, Mr. Barnum. I'm looking for a partner to help run the American Museum. But I don't want to turn it into no sideshow.
And I couldn't agree more with you, Mr. Scudder. And that's why I intend filling all 5 floors with the most educational attractions imaginable, including 3 galleries of art, a lecture hall that will seat 2,000 people, and in the rotunda, a glass tank containing a living, breathing, spouting great white whale from Labrador. And just to help you make up your mind, sir, may I present you with this courtesy ticket entitling you and a friend to 2 free admissions upon payment, any half the regular price any Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday between the hours of 12 noon and 1 p.m. Is it a deal, sir?
Taylor Barnum. Did you or did you not have an appointment to take me to lunch at 1 o'clock sharp? It is now past 2:14.
In the near ring, ladies and gentlemen, the fight to the finish struggle of humbug versus truth, as Mr. Phineas Taylor Barnum versus that most ferocious of all jungle beasts, the female of the species, who has been kept waiting over 1 hour and 14 minutes. Mr. Barnum will face this dangerous creature unarmed.
Darn it, Mr. Scudder, I thought I asked you to tell me when it was 1 o'clock. No excuses. Now run on down to the museum. I'll meet you and the builders there at 2:45. Away you go. Charity, I don't know why I ever took him on as a partner. He's so forgetful. Perfect example of a marital humbug. The trouble is, with my wife, it never works.
Hogwash, Taylor. I believe you forgot that appointment all by yourself.
You see?
Now, I have to go and collect some pamphlets over at the Women's Emporium, so I thought we might lunch there.
Oh, Charity, you can't get lunch at that place. But McNally's Saloon is right around the corner, so I suggest
that we leave it up to the fates. An excellent idea, Taylor. Heads, the Women's Emporium. Tails, McNally's.
I'll toss if you don't mind.
Go right ahead, Taylor. I trust you 100%.
What do you think of that, Mr. Barnum?
Oh, I'm all for it, 100%. As long as she asks her husband first. Hey, McNally, bring us a couple of dozen oysters and 2 large eels and put a head on them.
Mr. Barnum will have the liver special, Mrs. Mortimer, plus fresh boiled parsnips and a compote of prunes.
But I hate prunes.
And an extra copy of Miss Danton's pamphlet for dessert. Now, Taylor, you can tell me who this new partner of yours is.
Charity, that was Mr. Amos Scudder. Him and me are rebuilding the American Museum.
With what? We haven't $100 to our name.
Brass and a little bit of humbug. You'd be surprised how often it's just as good as silver or gold.
Schemes again, Taylor. Schemes and dreams.
Oh, Charity, I told you I was a dreamer the first night I met you.
Taylor Barnum, when a girl meets a man in the middle of the worst thunderstorm of summer, with bolts of lightning jumping off every tree and barn in sight, and thunder so loud it nearly scares you out of your wits, not to mention the dogs and cats all over the territory howling to raise the dead, she don't pay much mind when a man happens to mention that he's a dreamer. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have dreams, Taylor. Just let them be sensible ones we can reach.
Charity, I want to excite people. I want to stir them up and give them a glimpse of the miracle.
Miracle's a pretty fancy word for humbug, Taylor.
Oh, how can you say that? Maybe I put a high polish on the facts sometimes, but I have never taken anybody for one thin dime.
You've taken them for more than money. You get them all wrought up about things that can never be. Like a woman 160 years old. I don't mind you using the imagination the good Lord gave you, but with 2 daughters to bring up, you ought to be using it for more sensible things. Now, I happen to know Mr. Chauncey Jerome is looking for a new partner over at the clock factory. I could be a part of it, Taylor. Write the letters and keep the accounts.
Oh, Charity, I just can't do it. Tick-tock, tick, from 10 to 6 every day with only an occasional bong to break the monotony of 10,000 cuckoos looking out of 10,000 little holes. Every man's got a temperament, Mrs. Barnum, but mine is just not suited to tick-tock, cuckoo, and bong.
I'm sorry, Taylor. I shouldn't have brought it up.
Of course you should, Charity, of course you should. That's half a wife's job, bringing up things her husband doesn't want to hear. But the clock factory, it's just not the right color for me. Just say the words. Bridgeport Clockworks, and what do you see? Grays and browns, and, well, maybe if you're lucky, a little dash of taupe. But if you walk inside any sideshow, you've got fire engine red and Kelly green and buttercup yellow. It's like living inside a giant pinwheel. And it's not for my own selfish pleasure I need all these colors, Charity. Oh, I want to splash them out for everybody in the whole world to see. The colors of my life are bountiful and bold. The purple glow of indigo, the gleam of green and gold, the splendor of a sunrise, the dazzle of a flame, the glory of a rainbow, I put them all to shame. No quiet browns and grays, I'll take my days instead and fill them till they overflow with rose and cherry red. And should this sunlit world grow dark one day, the colors of my life, whoop, there you got it, will leave a shining light to show the way.
That's all very well, Mr. Barnum. But your greens and your reds aren't going to be much use. Not unless you get those builders started.
Good Lord, it's 2:40. Charity, why don't you wait right here and I'll be back in 5 minutes. Maybe 10. A half hour at the outside, okay? Look, if I'm not back by 6, why don't you come down to the museum? You can't miss it. It's on the corner of Ann Street and Broadway. It's got a big sign outside with gold letters and purple trimming that says Barnum's American Museum. The splendor of a sunrise, the dazzle of a flame. I'm gonna do this. What? Whoa! The glory of a rainbow. I put them all to shame.
It's your own fault, Charity Barnum. If you'd asked a few logical questions before you married him, you would have put a healthy distance between yourself and a fella who wants to give the whole world a paint job, which I'm not so sure it needs. The colors of my life are softer than a breeze, the silver gray of eiderdown, the dappled green of trees, the amber of a wheat field, the hazel of a sea, much too bold. In gold I find no worth. I'll fill my days with sage and brown, the colors of the earth. And if from by my side my love should roam, the colors of my life will shine a quiet light to lead him
For children of all ages, a cascade, a caravan, a cornucopia, a cavalcade of cataclysmically comical clowns.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4. Straight on top of the other, right? What are you? No. 1, 2, 3. Right on top of the other, okay? No. I showed you already. 1, 2, 3. One on top of the other. Oh, stop! Showed you already. 1, 2, 3. One on top of the other. 1, 2, 3. One on top. Not like that. Stop! Charity, I've bitten off more than I can chew.
Nonsense.
You've forgotten we have an opening on Monday morning at 9.
We'll be ready.
Do you propose to rebuild an entire museum in 2 days?
I do, my treasure.
But how?
Slowly. The Lord gave each and every one the spunk to do what can't be done, the brawn, the brain, the courage, and the heart. The strength to bend the strongest bar, the will to reach the farthest star. It's just a case of learning how to start. To build a tower up so high to a cloud, you'll anchor build it one tiny brick at a time. Bucks multiply till a bums of anchor just begin with a thin silver dime. That empty field, it can yield 1,000 miles of flowers. You don't need no magic powers, just a seed and showers from the floor to the skies. You can soar if you're wise enough to climb, one brick at a time.
Build a ship that's built to last.
You lay the keel, then raise the mast.
And all begins with just a simple rhyme. And hope the roots of lie beneath.
There comes a stick to pick your teeth.
You sharpen up your life and take your time.
One stone birch up with a cup and a bunch of hours he can scoop all the salt from the sea. Pots open up, turning bows to bowers all begun by just one song of his. To write with these symphonies or his, the charity filled with thrills and obligati sought with more. So naughty leave the rest in the dust, be the best if you're just content to climb one brick at a time. Just take a brick and place it on the ground. To make it stick, pour mortar all around. A cup of lime, then stir until it's hard. And up she'll climb, by each by foot, by art. A sill, a door, a ledge, a window pane. Then drill some more, raise up a weather vane. A roof, the proof that going slow like this, a splendid edifice can climb. Towering so high to a cloud, you'll anchor build it one tiny brick at a time. Bucks multiply till the bums of bankers
Now, everything about my museum was spectacular, including the price, $1. Now, that may seem a bit steep, but it was worth it. Look at what I gave him. White Alada, Roman terracotta, living lava from the flanks of Etna, statuary, ride a dromedary, see the temple tumble and the Red Sea part, McNamara's band, the fattest lady in the land of pickled prehistoric hand, strand of Pocahontas hair, Crow and Sue are going to be showing you some rowing through a model of the rapids in the Delaware. Armadillos, clever caterpillars, reproductions of the Cyclops, red crystal blowing, automatic sewing, Venus on a shell and other works of art. Educated fleas, a tribe of aborigines, two ladies joined the crust and knees, a Mona Lisa made of ice. Hottentots begotten and forgotten, spots of cotton, June and night with loud and sound, I better see that twice. Got iguanas, snakes and other fauna, got my bearded lady, but we're getting up. When you duck out, you take another buck out, run around the block and see you, run around the block and see you, run around the block and see a new show start. Thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am, thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, thank you. Enjoy yourselves, thank you, thank you. Whew.
Mr. Barnum, 5,000 admissions in one day. Only everybody's going downstairs to see the whale, and then upstairs to see Joyce Hatton and the mermaid and the Indians, and then back downstairs to start all over again. Nobody's going out, Mr. Barnum. What are we going to do?
Put that sign I had printed outside the back door. To the egress.
To the egress.
Oh, don't get frightened. It's just a fancy word for exit.
But nobody will know what it means.
Oh, they will when they get outside. Now, that's a health and education humbug. They learn a new word, and they get some fresh air. McNamara's been the fattest lady in the line of pickled prehistoric hand, strand of Pocahontas hair. Cold Sue will going to be showing you some road to a model of the rapids of the Delaware. Iguana, snakes, not a fauna. Got my bearded lady, but we're getting now. When you duck out, you take another buck out. Run around the block and see you, run around the block and see you, run around the block and see a new show start. Now, I don't want you to turn around till I'm ready.
Mr. P.T. Barnum, the Grand Master of the High Wire, tries for a double somersault.
All right. Now.
What's the man done?
A foolish thing, Charity. I married a hard-headed, tough-talking, cold-eyed New England lady who's kept my crazy world from going up in smoke for 14 years. Happy anniversary.
I might have been foolish enough to marry you, Taylor. That doesn't mean I can't count. Our anniversary isn't for another 6 months.
Oh, not ours. I'm talking about the museum's. Or did you forget that we opened our doors to the public exactly 1 year ago today? So I want you to put on your silks and satins, because I'm taking you, me, and those pearls to celebrate tonight at Rector's Restaurant in New York City.
Oh, no. I'm not going to any Rector's Restaurant. The food's too rich, and the people too fancy. And I don't want to even discuss the prices. I am staying right here.
Marital humbug number 2. The carrot and stick principle. It never fails. Now see here, Charity Barnum. I've got the prettiest wife in the state of Connecticut, and it's my God-given right to take her out and show her off if I want to. So if you don't go upstairs at once and change into your best dress, then certain very costly anniversary gifts are going to have to be returned. Well, It almost never fails. Oh, Charity Barnum, what am I going to do with you?
Put up with me, Taylor, same as I do with you.
We're out of step, we disagree. What's right for you is wrong for me. Together we're apart a country mile. But I like your style. I like your style.
We're out of step, we disagree. What's right for you is wrong for me. When I propose, then you protest. What's my delight? You just detest. Too sweet to fight to ever reconcile. But I like your style.
I like your style.
I like your style. No shouts or quarrels.
No blows or tears.
One simple fuss to dissect and discuss for the next 100 years. Each blessed day, we sweetly fill. With no, you won't.
And yes, I will.
You wonder how we made it down.
You'll wonder how we made it down.
But I like your style.
I like your style.
I like your blessed day, we sweetly fill. With no, you won't. And yes, I will.
And yes, I
you wonder how we made it down the aisle. But I like your style.
I like your style.
I like your style. I like your style. Change my dress. But it is not to show off these pearls in front of your fancy New York friends. It's because I'm still in love with you, you great fool. And I want one of your damn marital humbugs to succeed.
Charity Barnum, I have never humbugged you. Why, I'm surprised that you even suggesting such a thing.
Mr. Barnum.
Not now, Mr. Scudder. Can't you see I'm lying to my wife?
But Mr. Barnum.
Mr. Scudder. What brings you out here at this time of night?
We've a problem, Mr. Barnum.
Speak up, Mr. Scudder. Is something wrong?
The fire, Mr. Barnum. At the museum.
What?
No use going down there. There's nothing left. I'm sorry, Mr. Barnum.
Mr. Scudder. I hope I'm being humbugged, sir.
Alas, Mr. Barnum, you never taught me how.
Mr. Scudder! Mr. Scudder!
Now, Taylor, I'll tell you right now, I don't attend dancing any gallops. Haven't had time to change my petticoat, and it's the same old muslin one. But anyway, since the only dance you know is the waltz, I don't anticipate any problems.
Ain't no use celebrating the anniversary of a museum, Charity. What's burnt down? Oh, and you were right. The darn place was nothing but a sideshow anyway.
Oh, Taylor Barnum, That museum was absolutely splendid, for what it was. And I will not listen to anything to the contrary. New York's not the only place to make a living, you know. There's a whole country out there. Why, even right here in Bridgeport.
Darn it, Charity, if you haven't come through with the solution. There is a whole country out there. And here am I, just piddling away my life on the corner of Ann Street and Broadway when there must be at least 24 states out there never even heard of P.T. Barnum. I'll build a new museum and I'll put it on wheels.
I wasn't thinking about any 24 states, Taylor.
Bring a little red and gold to the entire country. We'd start off with a 3-month swing around the East. All I need is one headline attraction and a little bit of capital. And because it was your idea, Charity...
What?
Because it was your idea, I'm going to put a top line in every ad that says the entire tour is under the personal direction of Mr. and Mrs. P.T. Barnum.
Oh!
You are with me on this, aren't you, Charity? Charity?
I am not certain I am 100% in accord, Taylor.
Then everything's all right. We're quarreling again.
I hope I'm not interrupting, Mr. Barnum.
You are, Mr. Stratton.
But our appointment was for 2 o'clock.
I'm busy now. We'll talk about it first thing on Monday.
Why don't we forget it? My wife and I have a few moral qualms about your offer anyway.
Tomorrow morning at 9.
Good day, Mr. Barnum.
Oh, damn it, wait a minute! Charity, I've got to go and see him. He's got that headline attraction I was telling you about. Why don't you keep on dancing, and I'll be back in 2 shakes.
A deliciously droll advertisement as Mr. P.T. Barnum juggles 3 slippery Strattons in the air.
All right, Mr. Stratton, what's all this about moral qualms?
Let me begin by telling you that my wife and I have the highest regard for you.
I smell a humbug.
But as God is our witness.
Oh, holy humbug, that's the worst kind.
But to permit you to exploit our son Charles's oddities for such a small sum of money is an offense to a Christian conscience.
Now, the key word in that speech isn't Christian. It's small, as in sum of money. Exactly what do you mean when you refer to oddities?
Any boy who stands only 25 inches tall from head to toe is surely a freak of nature.
Mr. Stratton, Joyce Hatt is 160 years of age. Anne Swan is 8.5 feet tall. Madame Josepha has a 10-inch beard. But that doesn't make them freaks. It makes them special. What you call an aberration of nature, I call a gift from God to lift him above the crowd. I'll tell you what, since he's old enough to make up his own mind, why don't we ask the boy? Charlie, I want you to come with me and join my show. But I'm not going to fool you. There's going to be tens, thousands, maybe even millions of people going to come and see you. Some to stare, maybe even a few to laugh. But most will go home and tell their children and their grandchildren that they once saw the smallest man in the world. We'll even pick you a name to go along with the miracle of your size. Of course, you mustn't forget the other benefits. There's going to be presidents and senators and bishops all queuing up just to talk to you. Or you could stay safe and snug in that chair for the rest of your life, not moving from one day to the next. Well, Charlie, I've put it as fairly as I can, and now it's up to you. What do you say? That's it. That's the name. Thumb. Tom Thumb. General Tom Thumb.
Ladies and gentlemen of the great city of Philadelphia, for the first time anywhere, the world's smallest man, General Tom Thumb.
I'm General Thumb, just come to town, a Yankee Doodle dandy. I've ate your scrapple and washed it down with just a nip of brandy. The mayor made me presents rare, the ladies did salute me. First rate I am, they all declare, and all my poses suit me. My success should open up your eyes. Don't judge nothing just by shape or size. Bigger isn't better, taller isn't braver, stronger isn't always wise. Smaller isn't necessarily the lesser, guts can come in any size. Lady luck and favor, just a little shaver over one who's 6'3". Brains in any tussle, mops the floor with muscle. Bet your life I'm glad I'm me. Bigger isn't keener, larger isn't bolder, higher might be low inside. When you need to lean upon a friendly shoulder, narrow's just as good as wide. See that mighty lion sitting there and crying, bitten by a tiny flea. Mammoth was colossal, what's he now, a fossil? Bet your life I'm glad I'm me. What's wrong in bulk may lag along in brains and heart. That handsome Hulk might be a little fusion mentally, proven consequently. Though he shows his shoulders twice as big as boulders, if the brain's a tiny pea. When you're in a pickle, he'd worth a nickel. Bet your life I'm glad I'm. Bet your life I'm glad I'm me.
Ladies and gentlemen, together for the first time, P.T. Barnum's two-star attractions, General Tom Thumb and Director of the Royal Zoological Society of London, the king of all pachyderms, Jumbo!
Giants are so awesome, folks are scared to cross them. Nonetheless, I guarantee, smallest Yankee Doodle, if he's in the moodle, beats the Hulk of Boodle, using just his noodle. Bet your life I'm glad I'm me.
Mama. Say, Mama. Say, Mama.
Once again in the center ring, Mr. P.T. Barnum versus the female of the species, with unheard of, unexpected, alarming results.
Stuff and nonsense, Taylor. Tom Thumb might be the smallest man on earth, but you managed to tell some pretty tall tales about him.
Well,
he is not a general, and his name's no more Thumb than mine is.
I call that trimmings, Charity.
Was Joyce Hat's age trimmings, too?
No, that was justice. I took all the ages most women knock off theirs and I added it onto hers.
Be that as it may, Mr. Barnum, if we have to be in the exhibition business, the least you could do is find yourself one respectable attraction.
Now see
Mr.
here.
Barnum, all my congratulations. Julius Goldsmith. We met last autumn in New York, and I caught your show here in Boston last night. Absolutely splendid.
Thank you, Mr. Goldschmidt. Charity, you remember my mentioning Mr. Julius Goldschmidt. He presented Mr. Booth on his last tour.
Of course. What brings you to Boston, Mr. Goldschmidt?
Boston's home to me, Mrs. Barnum. I stopped off for a little visit before sailing off to England to sign up that Swedish girl who's made such a stir over there.
Jenny Lind. I read all about her. 2 command performances for Queen Victoria.
Lind? Lind, of course, the India rubber lady who can tie a knot in her right arm.
Jenny Lind's an opera singer, Mr. Barnum, and she ties men in knots. And according to all the critics, her voice is the most glorious sound ever heard. But you'll get a chance to see her for yourself when I present her for her first concert next fall to Castle Garden. Well, better get started. That New York train's due in a quarter of an hour. Mr. Barnum, Mrs. Barnum, a great pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you in the fall.
What's the matter, Taylor?
Mr. Goldschmidt's a nice fellow, but I don't like to see him lose his shirt.
You don't think he'll be able to sign up Miss Lind?
That's just it. I'm afraid he will. And no American public is going to fill any hall just to hear a singer.
Oh, I'm not so sure you're right. You heard 2 command performances. Now, it's high time you found yourself an attraction like that.
Now, don't start on about that again, Charity, or we're going to miss the Chicago train. Besides, I wouldn't know where to begin.
Why, it's very simple, Taylor. We toss a coin. Tails, we continue as we are. Heads, I run the rest of the tour. And you go to England and sign a deal with Miss Lind's agents.
Charity, what would I say to Mr. Goldschmidt?
Oh, that you were afraid New York would never buy an opera singer. And you didn't want to see him lose his shirt.
That's a lie, Charity.
I call that trimmings, Taylor. Bon voyage, Mr. Barnum.
Mrs. Barnum, this is uncharted territory.
I'm equal to it, Taylor. And so are you.
Charity, wait! Well, now, it wasn't too late. I still could have missed the train and followed Charity west, but I didn't. I made the train, I made the boat, and I made the deal. Now, I had only one thing to figure out. Who the hell was Jenny Lind? But like that fellow Shakespeare said, what's in a name anyway? It's titles the public wants. I'll call her the scintillating songbird from Scandinavia. The scintillating Swedish songbird. The songbird who scintillates from Sweden. Now, I know that one's bad. I've got it. The singing Swede. I like that. Anyway, it was too late. because Charity had already printed up the handbills, and we were stuck with calling her the Swedish Nightingale. Well, you can't win them all.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on these blessed shores, the world-renowned living beauty. Due to the extremely respectable nature of this attraction, Mr. Barnum's promotional campaign will avoid any sensational claims and rely upon the plain, unvarnished truth.
P.T. Barnum, Miss Lind, welcoming you on behalf of 1,230,000 citizens to the proud city of New York. Tell me, Miss Lind, how was your crossing?
Wat sag nicht.
Come again?
Verlaat me niet had verstaan dit spraak.
Miss Lind, this here is the United States of America, and here we try to speak English.
I don't want to learn English.
Well, you have no choice.
Choose.
Choice?
Choose.
Choice?
Choice.
That's good.
Gut.
Good.
Gut.
Good.
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 No good.
Good evening.
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 Evening, ladies.
Laddies.
No, not laddies, they're not Irish, it's ladies.
Laddies.
Ladies.
Ladies.
Ladies, and.
Und.
And.
Und.
And.
And.
Gentlemen.
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 Gentlemen. No, it's gentlemen. Well, that'll have to do, I guess. The words they can't understand, we're just going to have to charge off to European style. Oh, and don't forget to smile, Miss Lind. There's one thing an American can't resist. It's the smile of a beautiful woman. No American man, anyhow. It's getting late, Miss Lind. I've got to get out front, so have a good concert and good luck.
Wat sag nicht.
In English, Miss Lind, in English.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lind thanks you for your kind reception to our program and asks that she might sing one last song. A song she sang at her first concert in Sweden and dedicates tonight to her new American friend. Kärlek oss till das sveta lider.
Grass
Love knows no rules, love has no time. Love laughs at rhyme and reason, sweeping the stage, mad or sublime, knowing no age or season. Wise men and fools playing love's game bend to the same sweet reason. Their silver song, swift as a flame, reaches the strongest Love has no time. Love makes such fools Mr. Barnum, I am a Confucian. Many gentlemen asked to go with me to the celebration tonight, and I not know which one to choose.
Why, my dear lady, you pick whoever takes your fancy.
Very well. I choose a scholastic person, my English teacher.
Now, my dear lady, I am a Confucian.
Taylor, the carriage is waiting.
I'll be right along, Charity.
The mayor of the city, also he asked to escort me.
Look, Miss
Taylor,
Linda.
please hurry. I want to freshen up at the hotel before the reception. Oh, well, perhaps another time.
Charity? Charity, I've got me a problem. The receipts have got to be counted again. The darn bookkeeper messed it all up. So why don't you take that carriage and I'll follow along as soon as I can.
And this bookkeeping, it couldn't wait till tomorrow?
No, Charity, it can't.
Very well then, Taylor. I guess I'll see you when I see you. It was a great success tonight, and I'm very proud of you. Good night, my darling. Good night, Miss Lind.
Charity, wait! Miss Lind, Well, damn it. Why shouldn't I take her to the reception? All my life I've been selling the dream to everybody else in the world. Isn't it time I gotta look at it myself? I'm a man, damn it. I've got the price of admission, and I want to see what's going on inside the tent. Staying home, living day by day. Maybe safe, but it can't be duller. Seeing things only black and gray. When the world is alive with color. Doing just as your neighbors do. Maybe wise, but it ain't so clever. Every man has a dream or two. Let them go and they're gone forever. Out there somewhere, just out of sight. There's a world that's blazing with light. Ain't each man alive got the right to stray just a mite from this straight and narrow, shoot through the night like a flaming arrow. Turning back should the highway bend, turning down every chance you're given. Takes the risk out of life, but friend, how the hell can you call that living? Stay put in a pumpkin shell, it's a bleak and depressing habit. There's a ring on a carousel, and it's yours if you'll only grab it. Out there somewhere just down the line, there's a world of glory that shines. 1 square foot, there's gotta be mine. Once in his life when a man decides, once when he stands where the road divides, once when he stands where the morning grows, once if he will he can see those fires glow, flags streaming, spires roar, towers gleaming, in a land where the dawn is clear, in the sky where the sun's forever, on a plain where it's spring all year, and the dark and the night comes never. Somewhere out there, just out of sight, there's a world that's blazing with light. Ain't each man alive got the right once in his life to forget the past?
In the main ring, the latest international sensation, the rarest, most beautiful bird in captivity.
Home at last!
Nightingale.
With his own 2 eyes, one light out
midway for a musical salute celebrating Miss Jenny Lind's 50th concert in America, featuring the proud citizens of Washington.
Let's go.
Follow the band, wherever it's at. The boys will keep, time to go, be a hard boy, running to death. Flash your hand, I'm doing your hand. Now you're lost, oh, they catch you all the time. See the way they come down, and it's beautiful days. Watch the fellow with the big face on, ain't you like they say? Give it to the little papa, my heart.
See the pretty lady toss that fat on high, ain't so cute as a daisy. Watch the fellow with the big bass drum go by, ain't you glad that you stayed? Hear the tuba play that old papa, oh my, ain't it driving you crazy? Don't you be so darn lazy, better hurry and join that big parade!
Follow the band, and hold your feet, time to go, feel your heart go right to the dance. Like your hand, hold your hand, down in the grass, or say, catch your body, there's like that sweet.
Ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed members of the Potomac Marching Band Society, President and Lady Fillmore respectfully invite you to the lawns of the White House tonight, where Miss Jenny Lind will give her first concert in our nation's capital. Up out of your seat, down off of the stand. Yeah, da-da-da-da. What? Oh, I'll follow the band, wherever it's at. Let both of your feet beat time to the drum, but feel your heart go rat-a-tat-tat. Flag in your hand, a plume in your hat. Damn it, Wilton. Don't I even get one evening off?
Miss Lind asked me to remind you that the reception's at 7 o'clock sharp. And since President Fillmore is a stickler for punctuality...
The whole 6 months of this tour has been nothing but tea with the president, reception with the chief justice, and supper with the senators. When do they ever find time to run the country? So damn it, Wilton. I give up the whole thing just to get away from them.
You don't mean that, Mr. Barnum.
No, I do. It was all very fine in the beginning, when we had to turn an opera singer into a Swedish nightingale. But now, the only thing I'm getting out of that bird is money. It's not enough. I humbugged myself into thinking I needed some more color in my life. And she humbugged me into being respectable. A miserable state of affairs as far as I'm concerned. So I might as well be miserable being respectable with someone I love.
But I thought you and Miss Lind had...
Well, you were wrong. You know what, Wilton? You'd better send a wire to old Goldschmidt, telling him I'll be in New York City the day after tomorrow. And another one to Mrs. Barnum, telling her that if that coin comes up heads, I might just be in Bridgeport by the end of next week. Now this is going to be a waste of time. None of my female of the species humbugs seem to pan out. But I'm too old a dog not to try. Never heard such carryings on in public. It's a damn disgrace if you ask me.
Phineas, are you muttering?
Me? Absolutely not. I think muttering is the height of impoliteness.
Then I'll just ignore it.
I never mutter. I might sputter, but I never mutter. When I got something to say that matters, I utter. I don't mutter. I used to have a mutter, but I still think it's a damn disgrace.
I bet I know what this is about. The way the French ambassador smiled at me last night.
Wrong. What do I care if some weaselly-looking Frenchie smiles at you? It's the way you smile at him. One of your number 2 special trembly ones.
Phineas, I am a soprano, and we flirt the way impresarios mutter. Anyway, what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander.
What do you mean?
The letters.
What letters?
Long ones. Daily. To a lady in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Now, if you were willing to give up these letters, I might be willing to give up my trembly smiles.
Jenny, I want you to know that I'll never forget you.
It has been a lovely 6 months. Jag önskar digga detta drömmar om Phineas. In English, I want for you what you want for yourself.
That's a kind wish, Jenny. Now I've just got to figure out what the hell it is I do want.
Well, at least we know what it isn't. This game of love amuses, unless of course one loses. So when do you think you'll be leaving?
I suppose tonight is as good a time as any. Will you be all right?
I think so. I have a dinner engagement with the French ambassador. Wise men and fools playing love's game, bent to the same sweet reason.
Did you see those figures for St. Louis, Mr. Goldschmidt? Sold out before she ever sets foot in town. I'm telling you, you're buying a songbird that lays golden eggs.
Oh, I know that, Mr. Barnum. In fact, you might say I knew that before you did.
And that's why I'm making you such a generous deal, sir. Only one proviso. If Miss Lind ever plays Bridgeport, don't sell me any seats. Done? Done.
Love makes such fools of us.
Why, Charity, Barnum, what are you doing here?
It came up heads. And I still think you're beautiful. My way this time, Taylor.
Your way, Charity.
Out of the tent, away from the midway, without the benefit of Kelly Green, Buttercup Yellow, and Cherry Red. The Bridgeport Grand Opera and Pageant Company present Mr. P.T. Barnum as he lives his life in
black and white. The future's rosy, living black and white. Keep on the ground. Those little dreams spin you around. See things the way they are. You're gonna tumble if you fly too far. Stay low and hold on tight. Black and white.
May the 7th, 1851, day of days for Bridgeport's favorite son. Living whales he sent to Hades, likewise Swedish singing ladies, and the local clockworks he would run. He could run a clockwork's Barnum found. In 2 months he'd run it in the ground. Purchased in 500 shovels. Said men mustn't live in hovels. And a new utopia I will found. Planned a very modern model town. Elevated roads to stroll around. Roof so high it makes you groggy. Built on land a trifle soggy. So as it rose up, it started down.
Black and white. He built a city that was black and white. The towers scraped the sky. The church was 7 stories high. Each brick so neatly stacked, and only one of them was slightly cracked. All that says look would run twice. The bottom line, the good would night. Bye bye, black and white.
Heard about your city watching, but the truth is politics your game. Kissing babies, making speeches, posing with the local beaches, fun, respectability and fame. You could be an older man, no wait. Congressman, I mean U.S., not state. Mayor, no, that's easy picking. Senator, oh, what the dickens? Why not hear a president who plays black and white? He's playing politics in black and white.
Right time for him. Slavery of any form is a knave. Taxes have to be increased to give to those who have the least. Tobacco I would ban as of today. Charity? They're not listening to me. I'm losing them. Unless you let me bring some color into this campaign, they're going to beat me. You've got to release me from my promise, Charity.
Very well then, Taylor. Go ahead!
Please.
Ta-ta, good night. Bye-bye, black and white. Outside the tent, after the show, beneath the scenes, behind the makeup. Oh, Taylor, please wait a minute.
What's the matter, dear?
Oh, nothing. I just need to rest for a moment.
You know what, Charity? So do I. Let's sit down.
On the steps of the city hall. It's illegal.
Well, that'll be my first act as mayor. To have a law passed that all elected officials with beautiful wives can rest on the steps of City Hall whenever I say so. There. How's that?
Thank you, Mayor Barnum.
You're very welcome, Mrs. Barnum. Oh. Impressive place, isn't it?
It's the most respectable looking building I've ever seen. And it belongs to you now.
You know what, Charity? Sitting here looking at you smiling in the dark reminds me the first time I took you home in that thunderstorm. I knew you were scared, but I just kept wishing there would be more lightning so I could get another look at your face.
And I shut my eyes every time the lightning flashed. So I never did get a good look at yours till we were standing at the altar. And by then it was too late. Oh, Taylor, now stop it. Folks are going to think we're foolish.
Why?
Two old people sitting on these steps in the middle of the night holding hands.
Oh, who says we're old? Maybe I've got a few gray hairs and a couple of laugh lines, but you don't look a day older than you did the day I took you home in that thunderstorm.
I thought you were through with humbugging.
22, 3 at the most. And that is the least humbugging thing I've ever said in my life.
Oh, you're going to be wonderful in politics, Taylor. Of course, I don't expect you to stay for more than one term as mayor. I've already got my eye on the Senate seat. And not the state Senate either.
Charity, you're talking about Washington.
Head says you can do it, Taylor.
Oh, deciding to run for the U.S. Senate is nothing to toss a coin on. It takes pondering and considering and contemplating. And how come in 25 years of tossing that coin it never once came up tails?
I guess fate is just on my side, Taylor. Well, that and the fact that this coin just happens to have two heads.
What? Oh, you stacked the deck, Charity Barnum.
I haven't been watching you 25 years for nothing, Taylor.
All right, I'll run for your damn Senate. She cheated me. But because I love you, and I would do anything to make you happy, but you have humbugged me good and proper, and I am most displeased. Why are you smiling?
Everything's going to be all right, Taylor. We're quarreling again. The colors of my life.
The colors of my life
are softer than a breeze.
are bountiful and bold. The purple glow of indigo.
The
gleam of green and gold.
The dappled green of trees.
The splendor of a sunrise.
The amber of wheat.
The dazzle of a flame.
The hazel of a sea.
The glory of a rainbow. I'd put 'em all to shame.
Are all I'll ever need.
No quiet browns and grays.
Your reds are much too bold.
I'll take my days instead
In gold I find no worth.
and fill them till they overflow
my days with sage
with
and
rose and cherry red.
Colors of the earth.
And if from by my side my love should roam, Charity? Charity? Charity!
On behalf of the party, Mr. Barnum, may I say how sorry we are.
Month after month of standing there right beside me. Oh, just when we were right on the threshold. Now I don't want you boys to worry none. Because during this campaign, I'm going to be stronger than ever. I've worked a long time for this senatorial nomination, and it's an election I don't plan to lose.
I'm afraid there's been a slight postponement in your nomination, Mr. Barnum.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What Mr. Templeton is trying to say is that the party's position has changed. We're giving the nomination to Alexander Whitaker.
What are you talking about? I've been barnstorming for the past 6 months on the strength of your promise that I'd have this nomination.
The decision's out of our hands, Mr. Barnum. Why, in 4 years, you'll be a prime candidate.
I don't want the nomination in 4 years. I promised somebody I'd be in Washington next January. And if I can't be there then, I don't want to be there at all. So good day, gentlemen.
But Mr. Barnum,
Get out! Charity? 6 months of making speeches, and they take away the nomination from me with a lie worse than any humbug I ever pulled at anybody in 35 years of fooling people. Thought I'd got it out of my life, but I was wrong. Because it looks like if I don't humbug them, they're going to humbug me. Tell the truth, Charity. Is humbug so bad after all? Just think of those Pilgrim Fathers that came over on the Mayflower. They were humbugged with a dream of finding some kind of utopia. It turned out pretty good. Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin back in '76, they were humbugged with a dream of making a whole society of free and equal people. And that dream of theirs was strong enough to win a war. I'm not comparing four-headed frogs and live mermaids with the Declaration of Independence. But somewhere way down deep, there's got to be a connection, right? How do you like that, Charity? Up here in a soapbox for 2 minutes, and already I've convinced myself I'm first cousins with Thomas Jefferson. Oh, darn it, Charity, don't that prove it? At humbugging, I'm the best there is. The Prince of Humbug, balderdash, fiddle faddle dribble tosh, twiddle twaddle blather bosh, bilge and dodge and double dutch and flim flam. I am the king of hogwash, Tommy Rot, jibber jabber gabber guff, hocus pocus gabber guff, scam and sham and just a touch of white lie am I. Duke of tripe and idle chat, Earl of oil, Lord of blat, Emperor of rigmarole, that I am, bless my soul. The Prince of Humbug, Poppycock, Piffle waffle chatterbunk, hokum hooey chatterbunk, wile and guile and trumpery, that's me. Oh, don't worry, Charity. I'm not going back into the exhibition business. What I was thinking about was a lecture tour to bring the noble art of humbug to the whole country. And who's got a better right to talk about it than me? It's the thing that God gave me the gift for. It's how I got everything I ever had. Even you, Charity. Even you. In a world of sting and shock, this moment we spend down a road of ridge and rock toward Lord knows what end. Through a night as dark as space, as cold as the sea. Someone's gonna make it right. Shoot a rocket, shine a light, tell you who that someone's gonna be. The Prince of Humbug. Tongue-in-cheek, shilly-shally, pull-the-wool, blarney, bogus, cock and bull, hoax and pranks and hanky-pank and some skullduggery. I am, and damn, I'll always be. Yeah!
The main event. The greatest contest of them all. P.T. Barnum, unarmed, alone, without a net, in a struggle to the finish with destiny.
Bailey's the name, Mr. Barnum, and I'm here for my 3:30 appointment.
Sorry, Mr. Bailey, I've given your offer a great deal of thought, but I'm afraid the answer is no.
But Mr. Barnum, I sent you those plans and photographs over a week ago. Didn't you get a chance to look at them?
Oh, I saw your pictures, all right. And your menagerie doesn't look too bad. But I've been out of the business for years, and I don't intend on going back in it. But, if you wouldn't mind a little bit of advice.
Why, no. I would welcome it.
Well, you've got to hook your attractions to the mood of the country. It's 1880, and with Grant in the White House, we're expanding our boundaries. Your show looks good, but it's too small.
What?
There ought to be 10 elephants and 20 clowns, bareback riders, acrobats, fat ladies, a whole family of jugglers, and 6 up on the high wire.
Impossible. You couldn't get all those acts in one ring.
Well, then you put in 2 more rings, one on either side, with a band of 40 pieces. And a special tent for sideshows, not to mention grandstands that you can put up and take down to seat 5,000 people. Plus a special train with 2 locomotives and 60 cars, and enough canvas to fit the entire Crystal Palace inside. And still have enough room left over to fly a kite.
The Crystal Palace? Mr. Barnum, I hope I'm not being humbugged.
Mr. Bailey, whatever gave you that idea?
Well, it sure sounds good the way you tell it, but you gotta help me.
It's out of the question.
But I need you, and the circus needs you.
I said no.
When the pill my doctor gave you turned your cold to the grip, when a stitch to save 9 others comes apart with a rip, when the rats invade your Afghan, start leaving your ship. Follow my tip, come away on a trip. Just join the circus like you wanted to when you were a kid. Climb aboard before it moves on, and you'll thank your lucky stars you did. Go to bed in Minneapolis, wake up in PA. Packed my roll, my brush, and my comb again, ready to roam again, ready to stray. Bless my soul, I'll never go home again when the circus comes my way.
Find somebody else, Mr. Bailey. The answer is no.
When your patches in your trousers and a hole in your purse, when your 9 to 5 is boring and your 5 to 9's worse, when you see the sandals next to you get cheers and a curse. Don't have a hearse when you still have the juice.
Just join the circus like you wanted to when you were so high. Pitch your troubles under a tent and you're bound to lose them by and by. Say so long to fashion and to the green sweet Santa Fe. Toss your hand and get in a sack again. Show the pack and then hitch up the shade. Kiss the cat and never look back again when the circus comes your way.
Told you, it's out of the question, Mr. Bailey. I've given it a lot of thought. The answer is still no.
When the lady you've been cutting was your brother instead. When his honor gives you 30 days of water and bread. When your bank account's $1 million but it's all in the red. Don't lose your head in the stuff to the bed. I joined the circus like I wanted to when I circus comes my way. Circus, circus, just to say the word electrify. Circus, circus, watch that tiger shaking hands like a monster. That lady dancing on the wire a million miles off the air. That string of painted cars down Railroad Avenue. Circus, circus, two big baseball say you're going to circus, circus. Sherwood and Times and the Woolworths pack your trunk and join the show with us. Go from Maine to Kokomo with us. Mr. Barnum, say you'll go with us.
All right, damn it. Why don't we leave it up to the fates? Heads it's yes, tails it's no. Mr. Bailey, you've got yourself a partner. To the biggest show in the country!
To the greatest show on earth!
The circus comes your way.
Like I wanted to when I was a kid. Climbed a 4 before it moved on, and you bet your life I'm glad I did. Went to bed in Minneapolis, broke up in PA. As I rolled my brush and my comb again, ready to roam again, ready to stray. Bless my soul, I'll never go home again. From the day I joined the circus, behind this way you joined the circus. Step right this way you joined the circus. Just think of banner in your hand. Hey! Join the circus like you wanted to, like you always wanted to. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest show on earth is proud to present to you Madame Boissevin and her world-famous prancing Arabian ponies. On your left, Lady Francesca will swallow 2 flaming torches as she leaps through the circle of fire. On your right, Signor Vivala of Genoa, Italy, the amazing human cannonball. The celebrated sisters of the high wire, the daring and dazzling Lily and Lisa. And in the center ring, the greatest spectacle of them all, the Barnum and Bailey Elephant Parade! Just take a banner in your hand. Hey! Go for a circus like you wanted to, like you always wanted to. Run away.
In the center ring, a final princely attraction. Mr. Phineas Taylor Barnum himself.
Of course, that was a long time ago. Joyce Heth is gone and forgotten. So is the American Museum and the Great White Whale. Dear Jenny Lind, and my poor Tom Thumb, and them Pilgrim Fathers that came over on the Mayflower. They've all gone to dust. And Thomas Jefferson is just a memory. And Ben Franklin has flown his last kite. And my kind of humbug has disappeared. It's a pity. There was a sucker born every minute. Each time that second hand swept to the top, like dandelions, up they pop. Their ears so big, their eyes so wide.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your whole evening's enjoyment. I'm sure you've enjoyed it. Certainly your applause has told us that. I'm exhausted just standing in the wings for the last 10 minutes. So put your hands together for the cast. Now, before they've all gone to the pub, we'll have the raffle.